Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. We'll try this again. Unfortunately, Twitter or X, whatever we're calling it now, Spaces session seems to be having another bit of a meltdown. Why always me, as Mario Balotelli would say. Hopefully, Cam is getting a invite to be able to co-host.
Afternoon.
Here he is. As usual, myself and Cam, mainly Cam, will be providing an ultimate roundup, rapid fire roundup of the latest pricing flows and market moving news in crypto markets. But before he does, I'll get the legals out of the way. Nothing said on this Spaces session when we can actually speak on Spaces. It should be constituted as trader or investment advisor and infers any kind of endorsement by PIQ, Institutional Fi, which is obviously Cam's little new operation coming up. Myself, Ryan Paisley, and of course Cam O'Connor. Again, apologies for Spaces having a bit of a meltdown, especially to those of you that are going to be replaying this on YouTube and afterwards because you don't really care that it didn't start on time. But there we go. Cam, how are you, my dear friend?
There's no excuse for that behaviour, guys. Don't be lazy. Get up early. Listen live. No,
No, you're right. Yeah, fuck them. Right, what's been
no.
going
Of
on in
course, we
crypto?
appreciate all listeners, no matter
Yeah,
if
yeah,
they're
yeah.
live or on recorded. Yeah. I'm okay, Ryan. How are you doing?
I'm not too bad, mate. I'm itching to get outside and have a beer, but yeah, it's lovely weather here.
Oh, so beautiful, isn't it? So beautiful.
It is.
Right, let's crack on. Crypto market update of the last 24 hours. We'll dig into a little bit of price action, covering the Bitcoin and some major alts, and then we'll jump into the news. Just in case this is your first time listening and you're wondering what on earth is going to happen
What
over
the
the
fuck
next
is going
15
on?
minutes. Exactly. So Bitcoin, safe haven asset yet? Question mark. That's kind of my theme.
No, I can answer that one. No.
No, no.
Next
You've
question.
got
I'm doing all right on
the
this quiz.
next question. Next question. If this is a pop quiz, I'm acing. And then the Bitcoin maxis have just blocked PIQ. Please
Yeah,
don't
all right.
block me.
Not only that, I'm going to be getting hate mail.
Yeah. At your local pub, you'll just have some Bitcoin maxis, some waiting for you.
Yeah,
We'll
God,
move on.
imagine.
We'll move on quickly. Yesterday, BTC traded within a 1.8% range from lows to highs. Hence the question, when can Bitcoin be considered a safe haven asset? Noise coming out of the US regarding, I'm going to quote this, a potential deal made with an unspecified country. Markets in the US rallied on this news. It's just showing their desperation for any positive
Yeah,
news coming
exactly
out.
that.
However, BTC just remained very unfazed, held strong, and is now currently trading at $95,190. So not much movement. Again, on BTC side, we kind of smacked a resistant point around 96,000 or $95,600, and since then it's just been trading underneath it quite steadily in a very, very tight range. Whilst US stock market recovers, it's sixth. The S&P 500 closed green for 6 days in a row yesterday.
Something like that. Yeah,
Um,
yeah, yeah.
so some random stat like that. So but however, BTC's just been trading sideways, very, very unfazed. It's the strength that you want to see if you're into crypto, whether you're here for Bitcoin or if you're here for altcoins. If you hold a majority of altcoins, whenever BTC finds its footing and is able to trade sideways, you tend to see total three or total two, which is the total market caps excluding Bitcoin and stable coins, and then one of them excludes ETH, just kind of catch a bid, and you have some of that liquidity spill over into the altcoins, and that seems to be what's happened over the last few days.
Right.
Looking over to Ethereum, Ethereum failed to break Sunday's highs yesterday and closed just 0.1% down from where it opened. And if you thought that was tight, and ETH until just around an hour ago sat within 0.04% of range from where it opened today. So whether that's indecision or uncertainty as to what Ethereum's future is going to be as far as its on-chain mechanisms, Ethereum's still currently trading at $1,800. So it's
Yeah.
holding steady despite the uncertainty that lays before it. Moving down the market cap list in no particular order, Solana is trading at $147, down for our Monday spaces. XRP is trading at around $2.22 to $2.22, and BNB is trading at $603. I'm going to say Sui is now it's outside the top 10. It's the number 11 in market cap spot. Going to mention it because we mentioned it on Monday. The gaming ecosystem, that coin is down at $3 $1.53. Holding quite steady, considering it had a massive 80% moonshot.
What's that in terms of percentage rather than dollars? So I don't even know what the underlying price is.
Hey, well, it's down. What's it? Probably around 8%.
Right. Cool.
After it's like 80% move toward the upside.
It's a pullback.
Yeah, exactly. So I don't think there's going to be too many complaints coming from SUI investors there after that healthy retracement and potential profit taking. Obviously, we don't give financial advice in Spaces.
Absolutely not.
Looking over the last 24 hours to the Bitcoin and Ethereum spot ETF flows. So that will be, if you're listening on the record, for the 29th of April 2025. Bitcoin ETFs saw a net inflow of $172.8 million. This marks the 8th consecutive day of net inflows for the Bitcoin spot ETF products. And Ethereum saw a modest $18.4 million on a net basis flow in. So very, very positive signs there. Yes, coming down from the $1 billion mark that we saw last week of net inflows for BTC, multiple days of just shy of $1 billion. But haven't turned red. There's still steady flows coming in to those Bitcoin products. So if we move on to the next section, which is news that you may have missed, I'll cover 48 hours, but very, very picky on the stories and headlines so that we can get a few of them in. We'll kick things off with some news regarding Telegram, the social app that you can message, competitor to essentially WhatsApp. Tokenization firm Libra plans to launch the Telegram Bond Fund on the TON network, tokenizing $500 million of Telegram debt. TBF, as it's referred to, will offer accredited investors access to institutional grade yield products from approximately 2.4 billion in outstanding Telegram bonds, which can also serve as collateral for on-chain borrowing and product development on the TON network. You can only take out those collateralized loans on-chain borrowing regarding the TON network. So they're looking to keep those funds in-house. Moving on, pretty interesting development there. Moving on to the SEC. The SEC ended its investigation into PayPal's PYUSD stablecoin with no enforcement action taken, as disclosed in a filing by the SEC yesterday, which again will be the 29th of April. There is a link on the Institutional Fi page to where you can go read the whole filing if you so wish. So BlackRock has filed with the SEC to launch a DLT shares. So this is a digital share class for its $150 billion Treasury Trust Fund, utilizing blockchain technology to mirror ownership records. It's quite an interesting move from BlackRock, and I'm looking to do a little bit more research into that and come out with a more detailed post later on today. So stay tuned for that. In a bit of a warning out there, Ledger hardware wallet users are being targeted at the moment by a scam involving fake letters posing as official correspondence. Yes, letters, which, this is...
Sorry, you mean like physical letters?
I mean physical letters.
People still get physical letters.
How they're being targeted is a bit beyond me, but
do you know what though? This might actually be low-key a fucking genius, because there's so many online scams that they're like, well, no one's going to suspect actual physical paper.
Yeah, no, exactly. Now they've not specified which country is being targeted, but obviously with addresses being so obtainable in the United States, I'm going to just make an assumption that it's probably going to be in the region of the US that they're getting these letters from. And also, how are they getting? There's so many questions. I have so many questions regarding it. How are they getting the addresses of people who own Ledger wallets? Are they just taking a percentage guess as to where the user bases are and then just kind of flooding neighborhoods with letters in hopes that someone scans a QR code, which is these letters claim an urgent security update is needed and prompt users to scan a QR code and share their 24 private recovery phase, which allows scammers to steal their wallet and take control. Ledger has officially confirmed that these letters are fraudulent, stating that they will never request recovery phrases via phone, messages, or any other method. Users should avoid scanning QR codes and sharing recovery phrases and verifications through the official channels. This kind of it goes without saying, but we'll always say it because there might be someone new to the space. Yeah, never share your seed phrase if you've got a hardware
No.
wallet or a cold wallet. Never do it. This is going to be how someone accesses your funds. And if you can keep that safe, they're not going to have access to your funds for the most part, unless you interact with an exchange or you click a dodgy link whilst your wallet's connected. They are very, very safe, but there is obviously a security flaw, which is you giving your password. You wouldn't give a scammer your bank PIN. Don't give them your recovery seed phrase.
Absolutely.
So we'll move on from that one. Again, if you have any questions, if you are a new listener, just feel free to reach out to me regarding that one, because we can break it down. We can have a conversation about being safe and protected in the crypto world.
Always wrap up.
Always, yeah. always always wrap up when dealing with sex, which is the CEX in this
There you
case,
go.
a centralized exchange. So there
Oh,
we
stop
go. Right, so CBOE Futures Exchange has officially launched the CBOE FTSE Bitcoin Index Futures. This is based on the FTSE Bitcoin Reduced Value Index, which represents 1/10 of the FTSE Bitcoin Index. More information on XBTF Futures. They are cash settled contracts, meaning positions are closed in cash at expiration, removing the complexities of physically delivering Bitcoin. And removing that that risk of losing your crypto, like we just talked about. So more positive news in for the online crypto mixer Tornado Cash, as the U.S. District Court in Texas ruled that the sanctions imposed by the U.S. Treasury Department's OFAC, which is the Office of Foreign Assets Control, on the cryptocurrency mixing service Tornado Cash were illegal and permanently prohibited the OFAC from imposing sanctions again. OFAC removed Tornado Cash from the sanctions list in March this year. As that as a whole for crypto mixers kind of raised the barrier.
Yeah, because I'd imagine, and rightfully so, maybe the barrier for mixers should be a lot higher than most places.
Yeah, and it is quite, even for institutions like MICA and UK with the FCA. They were approached last year and were actually quite surprised that you can absolutely send funds to a mixer legally and following guidelines within the regulation across multiple jurisdictions. But obviously there is unregulated way of doing it, which is absolutely kind of Tornado Cash's approach to it. So there are legal ways of doing it, especially if you want to transfer large amounts of sums without people knowing where it's going to or the amount that's being transferred. There are legitimate use cases for it, and actually there is technology at the moment that Circle are working on, which is being able to send money from point A to point B without you seeing how much has been transferred and the wallet balance, the balance difference from either side. Because we all want privacy to a certain extent. Blockchain technology is brilliant. The open ledger is brilliant. But in some cases, you don't want your neighbor knowing how much crypto you hold if they get hold of your wallet address. Let's say you've paid for a curry in USDC or whatever, and you'll accept it, and someone knows your wallet address, and all of a sudden they can see your funds.
Yeah,
people want privacy, so there is a legal way of doing it. Kind of on the anti-money laundering side of things, Russia's anti-money laundering agency, I'm not going to pronounce it, plans to promote
me knowing your history on trying to pronounce places, I think this is probably a good bet.
Yeah, especially with the topic of conversation that is on. Moving on quickly, they plan to promote, Russia's anti-money laundering policy agency plans to promote the criminalization of illegal cryptocurrency mining, and has received support from the Ministry of Finance, the central bank, and the Citizens Chamber of Commerce. Currently, Russia bans mining in 9 regions only during the winter. So keep that in mind if you're in Russia, you're listening in, and you're planning on mining in the winter. Very, very niche audience there. But if that is you, maybe just check.
Yeah, exactly.
Trump's Truth Social could be creating a utility token. In a letter to shareholders, the CEO of Trump Media announced the platform is mulling the idea of launching a utility token for subscription payments and possible other future uses within the Truth atmosphere. So, yeah, another token from the Trump network could be coming out in the near future. What its utility will be remains remains to be said. So following on from Monday's comments from myself and Ryan regarding the XRP ETF announcement, which there was no verification of. There's actually been reports on so many different platforms, whether this was true or not, whether XRP had their futures ETF approved, and it was said to go live today. So I guess we'll see at market open whether there's a XRP futures ETF from ProShares. ProShares didn't publicly say whether it was approved or not approved. I wrote to them this morning to kind of see if we could get any further clarification on it, but still yet to hear anything on it. But the SEC have been very, very active. They delayed several ETFs yesterday. So the ETFs that they delayed were one with Franklin Templeton's XRP Spot ETF, Ethereum staking and Dogecoin ETFs. James Seifert, who's an ETF analyst for Bloomberg, said that he expects the SEC will also delay Solana and HBAR ETF filings this week, pushing the next deadline down the road to the middle of Q4 of this year. This comes in as the SEC had little to no engagement with the applicants, which is typically a sign of delays.
Love it.
Actually, go on. And actually, I was just talking because I was just scrolling to see if there was any updates. Yahoo Finance reported that a ProShares spokesperson told ETF.com the firm does not have any ETF launches scheduled for Wednesday, April 30th, and we have no further news to share at this time. This was dated yesterday. So according to Yahoo Finance, ProShares doesn't actually have an XRP futures ETF filing coming to market today. So we'll leave it at that note. But again, re-add to that, like we said on Monday, it's important to go beyond the headlines and do some investigating, because they're not always true, they're not always factual, and yeah, hence that's what the service that we're doing. We're going beyond the headlines and providing you with a deeper insight.
Yeah, no, absolutely, absolutely.
Moving on, we've just got a couple more news headlines to go over and their impact. Arizona becomes the first US state to pass a BTC reserve bill that allows for up to 10% of public funds to be invested in virtual currencies like Bitcoin. The bill will still need to pass Kate Hobbs, the Democratic governor's desk, in order to be signed into law.
Yeah, so as we said, it's still got some hoops to go through, but and also it was expected to pass this phase, wasn't it? If I recall correctly.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. The odds were definitely in its favor.
To the show.
Oh, that's nice. I was just talking to myself, which happens a lot, and no one's listening. So get used to it. So that's like a little warm hug there, Ryan. Appreciate it. MasterCard has partnered with Nuvei, Circle, Paxos to enable merchants to accept stablecoin payments, such as Circle's USDC and Paxos issued stablecoin, streamlining transactions and settlements. This is coming out yesterday, and also Abu Dhabi's ADQ, IHC, and FAB, which is the FAB, are set to launch a UAE dirham-backed stablecoin, fully regulated by the central bank of the UAE and issued by FAB on the UDI blockchain. And lastly, World Liberty Finance, that's the ticker WLFI, have announced a memorandum. Can't say that word. Memorandum. That's it. Memorandum. You should have let me go in. And an enemy. It's an enemy. A memorandum of understanding, MOU. I should have just gone with Pakistan Crypto Council. Again, deepening the ties between the Trump family and Pakistan in the world of digital finance. And that is going to be it from me today.
Awesome. Well, Cam, thank you so much. Perhaps I might see you on Friday where we have our non-farm drinks, non-farm pints. Anyone in London based, myself and Mr. Michael Brown, the first Friday of every month, we have drinks in London. Basically just an excuse to go out and meet other people that just want to maybe you chat about markets. I normally talk about absolute bollocks. But there, have a go. If you are around, give us a shout. We're tweeting about it every couple of hours, so come along. But yeah, again, Cam, thank you so much. Listeners, thank you so much for tuning in, especially all of you that listen to this on the playback, which is nearly everyone. Yeah, and if you don't already, follow Cam. Also, more importantly, give his new operation, Institutional Fi, a follow and subscribe on their Substack. As I like to put it, it's crypto with a tie on, so it's kind of the more important, the more the official kind of business that's going on with crypto. None of this fart coin bollocks. But Cam, have a wonderful one. Listeners, if you are trading today, keep it tight, and we'll see you tomorrow. Take care.
See you then.